Welcome back, everybody. This is Mog on Mog's Cast, playing some more Kerbal Space Program with you guys today, and we are sending another ship out toward the Duna system today. As you can see, this is a bit of a taller launch stage. It didn't have as much Delta V as the other launch stage I usually use. Well, this has more Delta V than the other launch stage I usually use, because for some reason it just didn't have as much enough Delta V to really get this thing up in atmo. Otherwise, once you drop the rest of this stage, it's actually got a heck of a lot of Delta V in this transfer stage, but that's because it's got a double wide tank here in the middle as opposed to the single on the normal stage. So it had a little bit more weight to it, so I wanted to give it a little bit more boost up into the atmo, which is why this is a little bit different. I basically changed it so it could get a bit further into the solar system for future use. But we're about to drop our first drop tanks here. There they go. And we're pushing on up. We're about 3,000 feet at about 150 meters a second so far. It does have a little bit of trouble speeding up because its thrust to weight ratio is a bit high. But it'll get us there. It'll definitely get us to that point that we need to be up into atmo or up into orbit with a good amount of Delta V left in the initial staging to help push us out further. So I think this launch vehicle will be pretty good for this. What we're going to be doing this time, since we dropped off a station around Ike in the last episode, we're going to be, better be slowing that down actually. We're going to be dropping this lander off on the surface of Ike to kind of complete our system there. I did want to get somebody down there on the surface of Ike, even though it's just kind of a little moon. It's always fun to land on moons, I think, especially when they're so far away. I've never landed out on another moon like that before. This will be kind of a first attempt, though I'm sure it shouldn't be much of an issue. But yeah, it's just a little lander can, basically. Well, a pretty big lander can. It can hold, I think, 7 people total. So it's actually a pretty darn decent little craft there for that. So let's separate that stage. Whoa, that tilted back there a little far. Almost clipped into the rest of the rockets. Let's tilt this down to about the 45 since we're up at about that height, and get cruising up to our orbit. Now I am in a pretty good position to burn toward Duna. It is a little bit early still at this point, but I wanted to get up into atmo and then we'll correct it from there. That way at least we're ready to go. I didn't know how much I wanted to push it as far as getting too close to our correct phase angle. I know I mentioned previously I was using like a little twist tie for the angles, like a rough angle. Like, since I don't have a protractor, nothing like that, I don't have the protractor mod that is available on the spaceport or anything like that. But apparently, this version of MechJeb actually has a set of phase angles for the different planets and moons. For you to use. I had no idea. It's not part of the default layout. It's something you can add in with a custom window. So I've been actually kind of using that. It's a very handy little tool to get things a bit more correct. So let's see. Gonna be pushing on out here, and I'll throw this out there. I know I've been offering this in the last few videos, and I didn't mention it last video, but I'll actually hold true to it. The first person, provided you don't already have a Kerbal in the game, or in this campaign, I will add a Kerbal into the save file here for you into our recruiting complex for the first person who comments on the video with anything constructive. And I'll name it anything. I can name it after you particularly, after your username. I can name it anything you particularly choose as long as it's appropriate. I don't want to get, too off topic or too out of the ordinary, too inappropriate. I don't know the exact viewership that I have, and I want to kind of be safe in that manner, of course. So nothing too crazy, I would appreciate. So let's get moving here. We just cranked over to the horizon, pushing out our apoaps. It's a little over 90 kilometers up, and we are pushing out that periaps at this point too. So let's see, about 95 kilometers up, cruising up on the 100 kilometer mark. We're gonna go a little over 100 kilometers so that we're up to a decent height. I think we're gonna go for 110. I'll say that's probably good. Maybe 115 just to be safe. I think we have the Delta V to do it. Might as well at this point. So 111, 112, 13, 114, and 115. So that should be a pretty decent arc, looks like. Let's set up our burn. Now hopefully you guys liked the in-cockpit flight last time. I might actually do more of those. They are kind of fun to do. I don't know if they're terribly interesting for you guys actually just sitting there in the cockpit watching all the knobs and everything. I'm sure it's not much worse than this. But if you guys like that kind of thing, let me know. So I can definitely do more of them. Especially now that I've actually got a mod that allows me to see all the particulars that need to be seen while in flight. So okay, just gonna get tilted down. We need about 400 and, well, almost 500 Delta V to finish off this burn, and we have over that for this stage. So we'll have about 200 and almost 300 Delta V left for the initial burn out toward Duna too. So okay, about 31 seconds means about T-minus, I'll go T-minus 16 for the burn time. So fast forward down here. Oh, we passed it, that's fine, not by much. Pretty much right on the spot we need to be anyway. It's not going to be too far off. So doing full throttle here in this stage, going to get us into a stable orbit and have some fuel left over. So we're just going to kind of want to follow this this node marker here as it goes up, and it's going to start cruising up a little higher. And I do have it on kill rotation, not the node following mode, so it does get a little wonky at times. Turn that down a little bit as we get in close, and I think I overshot it just a hair, but that's perfectly fine. We're in a stable orbit with not a too bad inclination either. So let's change this view, get into a free view so everything's a bit more easy to see here. And I'll kind of show you this. I don't know if I've actually shown you this lander before. I think I used it to repopulate some of the bases in this system. I think I used it on Minmus, and I think I used it on the Mun to replace some of the bases we lost during the update. Yeah, it's a nice little lander pad. Got the cupola module on top. Got the hitchhiker's module there in the middle, and a lander can on the bottom, along with the fuel tanks on the side. Some good batteries, lots of lander legs. It's a very stable lander, and it also has a bunch of good landing lights as well as a lot of good solar panels. It's a pretty decent little lander can, I think. All things considered, that is. So let's take a look out here, shall we? Zooming out, grab Duna as our target, and I'm going to pull up phase angles, see where we're sitting. 44.92. Okay guys, so we're gonna this is gonna take a little while to get into the 44.36, so I'm gonna fast forward it, and we'll come back to you guys when we start the burn. See you soon. Okay, so here we are, coming back, getting close to our burn point here actually. We've got the node all set up, the phase angles are aligned for the most part. And we have an encounter at about 10,000 kilometers up from the surface of Duna. I think that's correct. I want to say that's correct, because it should be multiples of 1,000. So that's shown in meters there, so that should be 10,000 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see. So we got about 9 minutes to go. We need about 1,073 meters a second delta V to make this burn complete. We are on a 0.0 inclination difference with the planet Duna, so we are sitting pretty well. So we're just going to go ahead and fast forward up to the burn point here, and we'll get ready to do this. We do have a bit more Delta V still left in the tank, so that should be more than enough to get this burn started. In fact, it'll get us probably about a third of the way there, if I'm not mistaken. We should have about well, maybe a little less than a third. We got about a little over 250, so a little over a quarter of the way there, I suppose. 56 seconds is what it's estimated at burn time being. I'm going to start at about T-minus 45 because we are going to be switching to the nuclear engines as these ones burn out. In fact, you know what? I'm going to start it now. We're close enough, and we're just going to go for it. So starting that burn, I'm going to drop out of map view, and we're just going to watch this thing go. So there it goes. We've got about 100 left of meters per second in this tank, and here it goes. And here we go, shooting off our nuclear engines here. Change so that we're level with the horizon as far as our attitude goes. Well, is that attitude? No, I don't think so. Our rotation goes is level with the horizon now. And okay, so it's calling for, wow, about 4 minutes left for this burn. This is going to be a bit over. I probably should have started burning earlier. That's fine, whatever. We'll make it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on physical time warp to actually make this a bit quicker for us. As you can see, those engines are heating up pretty good, but I think we'll be okay. They are crawling up higher. As you can see, they'll tick upwards every now and again, but I highly doubt over the course of this burn that we will blow these things up. I have my doubts. But yeah, so like I mentioned, we will be doing a couple more Kerbals getting added into the game here. I'm going on vacation. In fact, while you guys hear this, I will probably be 2 days into my vacation up in Alaska with my girlfriend, visiting some family up there and doing some fishing. A buddy of mine is going to be uploading these for me, so much appreciation there, friendo. I don't know if I want to give out your name yet, just in case, but we have been considering merging YouTube channels so that we get more content up, though he has been pretty busy lately with work and all that, so that might not happen straight off the bat, but it's definitely been something we've been talking about so that we can get everybody who is subscribed to our channels together into one spot and make it all just a bit more convenient, getting more content up, since it's all Let's Plays, and it'll make it easier for us to do kind of co-commentaries and things like that, since they'll all be going up in one spot. So let me know what you guys think about that. If you have any ideas or any suggestions for how to accomplish this, drop them in the comments below. I'm also thinking about setting up, possibly setting up a Twitter account so that you can see quickly and easily when new things get added in to the channel, to the blogs, to the forums, anything like that. It'll be a quick, easy 140 characters or whatever, and it can be sent out straight from when I'm uploading videos, which makes things super easy for me to give out notifications for folks who follow a Twitter or who have a Twitter account. You can just follow that and get notified when new episodes come out. Because as soon as I'm posting them, I can just automatically send out a quick little message like, "Hey, episode's going up," which is super easy for me. Keeps me from having to update a blog every weekend. Just send out a quick tweet. But let me know what you guys think about that. If you have any ideas on how to do that or how to accomplish that, give me a shout in the comments below, anything like that. So let's see, we have finished our burn. Let's make sure this encounter's still looking good. And it looks like it's a little bit off. That should be okay. We can correct that, I think. Inclination is still zip. So, what do we need to do here to get this to correct? Do we need to slow down just a hair? I think that's probably going to be the trick here. Yeah, we'll slow down just a hair. In fact, if we slow down more, that falls back out of there, so let's go about halfway between. Probably right about there. Yeah, that's going to be the best point, looks like. So cool, we'll have that encounter. I'm going to come back at you guys as we just getting close to Duna, since all this stuff's boring, takes a while, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, so we're coming in toward Duna here, and we got a really good encounter, actually. This is better than most of the ones I've gotten before, and our inclination is just solid. We're literally at like a 0 inclination on this, at least as far as the map was concerned. MechJeb's calling it 0.1, looks like, but that's fine. Or maybe that's in reference to the sun, whatever. So we got an apoapse of about, or a periapse of about 8,000 kilometers up. So that's, I mean, it's out there, but it's better than nothing. And whoa. Okay, for a minute there, I didn't think my time warp thing was gonna catch it, my alarm clock. But that's fine. Whoa, we're still speeding in, so that's good. So we are below. That should be fine. We should be able to correct this, no problem. In fact, we're going to set up this node and figure out what we're going to need to do our initial capture. We'll get that taken care of, and then we'll come back at you once we get closer toward Ike. In fact, let me see. I wonder if I can actually get an encounter with Ike coming in here. Let's target Ike, shall we? And do we have a spot? Is it going to show us? I wonder. Totally on opposite side. Whatever. We can get that fixed. Not a big deal. Okay, so let's, looks like we're going to need about 648.7 meters a second delta V to capture us. Look at that. We still have over 3,000 meters a second after ejecting from Kerbal to get here. So if you take off 700 or 270 some odd from this, is about where we'll have if we did the full ejection burn from Kerbal with this stage. So this craft actually should get us out toward possibly, I would think, maybe even Elu if we got lucky. I don't know if it'd have enough to capture it, but I'm sure the final stage would, if nothing else. So that should be something we might be able to do with this design, with a little bit bigger tank in the interplanetary stage. It's not a bad design at all. So let's see here. Let's speed on up, shall we? And I think, yeah, we are out of power. I'm actually going to charge this up real quick. Is it 3? Nope, 3 did the, did those. Oopsie daisy. Must be 2. 2 does our solar panels, so we're not going to be able to put away our antennas. So we're going to have to land this thing delicately so we don't break it. So we're going to get some, we are getting some sun here, looks like, yep, from up there. Let's get some electricity, we're going to recharge this thing, and it's definitely giving us that torque control again over our gyroscope, having the electricity coming in. So, big help there. If you're having issues with that and can't figure out what's going on, it's because you've run out of electricity. Your craft is no longer able to run its gyroscope because you have no electricity. So always a good idea to have a good source of power on your ships. No longer just a thing for probes. So as you can see, it's actually got a pretty decent light setup. It's not overwhelmingly bright, but it's definitely got a good setup. Landing lights, it's got a spotlight up front for the landing, for the window for the lander pod. It's got the upward ones, kind of a spotlight for things coming in on orbit. Might be able to spot it easier, is my thoughts on that one, but yeah. I think it's a pretty decent setup. Got a couple of good batteries, not nearly as much storage capacity and electricity as the Colony Tower did with 8,000, but this thing will do the job at almost 2,000. So okay, so we have our node set up, we're all set there. We've got electricity, let's go ahead and zoom in here, shall we? Needs about 3 minutes, 15 seconds for the burn. So that's going to be about a minute 38, roughly, is when we want to do it, T-minus minute 38. Oh, and I passed it. Whatever. Not too big of a deal at this point. Let's run those engines, and we should have more than enough Delta V in this stage to actually get into an encounter with Ike after all the corrections are done. There it is, right there. Little Ike. It's actually a pretty good size in comparison to Duna. It's probably because it's closer to us than Duna is at the moment, I would imagine. Let's take a look. I'm kind of curious now. Actually, they are about even distance away from us, so that's a pretty good representation of size difference. It's a pretty big moon. Actually, Duna's a pretty small planet. As is Mars. Mars is a fairly small planet in comparison to Earth. When I was younger, I always used to think it was the big one, but that is not the case. Everybody always talked about it, so it was big as far as, you know, knowledge goes, but definitely not the big geographical or big planetary body that I thought it was in my head in my youth. So okay guys, we're going to come back as we get in close to Ike and get an encounter. Okay, so we've got an orbit here circling Ike, well circling Duna, close to Ike. And we don't have an encounter yet, but I'm pretty sure as soon as we pass this next rotation should actually get us an encounter. Or at least we're close enough that, yeah, we basically just transfer right into an encounter. That's awesome. This was totally by accident, and I was quite surprised to actually see it when I started setting up nodes, and it was like, oh, you've already got an encounter, you don't have to do anything. So I'm actually just gonna circle off this, oops, not that. We want to set up a node, dang it. Circle off this orbit and get it all captured and nice and tight in there, and then we'll make for our landing spot. In fact, I think I might take a look at some of the information on Ike and see if there's any cool spots to land on here. Just because we haven't really landed. Well, I haven't shown you guys this in the new season here, but when I had to go through and replace a bunch of the things around the Kerbal system, I actually ended up putting down on the Mun right at one of the arches because I was passing over it and I was like, oh, that's an arch, so I just like stopped and actually landed at the arch instead of out in the middle of nowhere because I thought it'd just kind of be cool. Another note, if you haven't seen it yet, the crew manifest has been updated on the Kerbal Space Program forums for the forum thread for this Let's Play. The link should be down in the description if you'd like to check that out. It's got the mod list for the current things that are installed as well as a maintained crew list. So if you want to see if you have a Kerbonaut and you're curious where he is in the system, he should be listed there at one of the stations along with the vessel that he is in. So check it out if you like. And feel free to leave comments too if you like. So I'm going to fast forward up here, we're going to get to that node, and we're going to do this burn. So let's take a look. We are still exposed with all of our solar panels. The Ike itself is actually, looks like it's obstructing the view of the Kerbal sun. That's fine, we just need to make sure that we're still going to have enough electricity, and we're looking good actually. So we are on the dot for that node. Let's go ahead and fast forward. We need about 82.8 delta V. We have just shy of 2,000 delta V left in this stage. So way more than enough for doing these maneuvers to get out here to Ike. And we need about 20 seconds of burn is what it translates to. We are about an hour and a half out and zipping down now. Coming in, and 11 minutes left. So we're going to start this about T-minus 10 seconds. Should be pretty close here. We're about T-minus 20 there. And there's the surface of Ike. Pretty unappealing currently. They have been redoing a lot of the fidelity on some of these planets. Like they've redone the Mun, if you haven't seen it yet, and I think they've redone one of the other planets possibly at this point. I don't think it was Duna. It might have been Duna. But the Mun looks great. It's got like all these generated craters in it now. Craters are all over the place. Whoop, I went past the burn point. Oopsie daisy. That's fine. Just stick on that node, I suppose. Now let's take a look out here. So dropping that in, we're going to be at about an apoapse, or about an orbit of about 100 kilometers roughly from the surface, give or take, because it's not going to be perfectly aligned. So about 102, 101 by 106, that's fine. Doesn't need to be perfect, but okay, cool. I'm actually going to wait until we get around the backside, probably to just bring down the landing area toward the light side of the moon. But I will be right back. I'm going to take a look at the information on Ike and see if there's any cool, interesting spots to land. Okay, so on Ike, it looks like there is no Easter eggs other than the Magic Boulder, which is a small asteroid that apparently is locked in a polar orbit. I've actually seen the video on this that Scott Manley did, and I totally spaced. But it's a little boulder that rotates on a polar orbit around Ike. Now, the tricky thing is I have no idea which way the orientation is of this magic boulder, and it doesn't have its own gravitational pull, so all you can do is kind of orbit alongside of it, and if you get too close, it's got a messed up collision box. You can just slam into it without actually even touching it. It's impossible to land on currently at this point. And I don't think I'm going to worry about that, because that's too tricky. That's just, that'd be just ridiculous, I think. So we're going to go ahead, fast forward, and we're going to go up to, we're just going to go ahead and land. Call it good. So let's see, there's prograde, we need retrograde. Which is going to be right there. Okay, so we're lowering down our periapse. Dropping it down closer toward the surface. We're probably going to get... I don't want to drop it completely through the ground just yet, just so that we can at least skim along the surface a bit and take a look at kind of where we want to land. So that should be fine. And then as we get closer to the periapse, we can bring in the other side so that we're stable. The real question here is if I'm going to clip it all, and I don't think I am, because moons are not always perfectly spherical, which most aren't actually, but oh, look at that, the goofy little crater down at the very bottom. Oh, that's weird. Is there one up here too? Yeah, it looks like where the basically probably the planet Rap came to a close. Just little craters right at the very top. That's odd. I wonder how that looks. Maybe I should land there. Do you guys want to see that? Should we land on the North Pole? I think I might try that. Let's do that, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and correct this and just go ahead and land up at the pole. So we'll come back to you guys as we're getting ready to land, because this might take a little bit to get all lined up. Okay, so we are in a pretty tight little polar orbit here. We can actually see the surface really well from here. I'm actually going to go to free camera mode so we got a better control over this. But yeah, we can kind of scan over the surface here at the poles. I don't know how high off the surface that magic boulder is, but we are actually in a polar orbit, so we might actually see it if we got really lucky. But I have no clue if that actually happened. I highly doubt it. So why don't we just go ahead and zoom around here and take a quick spin around Ike. So check that out. It's a very unsculpted surface, I suppose I should say. Very, very rough. Lots of craters, lots of big craters too. Let's take a look. We're coming around the south pole of the planet currently. Yeah. Wonder what it's gonna look like. 'Cause that little knot seems pretty odd. So this will be the south pole. As we pass over it. I wonder if it's actually gonna look any different from this side. Oh, there it goes. Doesn't seem very special at all. Didn't look like anything crazy there. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to be flying back up the other side here. In fact, I'm actually just going to put a node right here so that we kind of have a gauge on where the pole is. It shouldn't take much to slow us down. We're at about 350 delta V, which actually might take a little bit of time, I suppose. In fact, let's see, because we can actually just adjust this node to figure out how quick or how long we'd need to burn to actually just drop right into there. Yeah, it looks like about a minute. And that should drop us right into that knot, whatever that is. So about a minute and 20 seconds, 22 seconds. So we'll start at about 41, T-minus 41 seconds. Give or take. I'll probably start a little bit early just so that we have some maneuver room. But that should put us right on the North Pole. Pretty much like exactly. We're getting there though. And the cool thing is from up here we should always have at least a partial view of Duna, and most of the time we should actually have sunlight. So let's go ahead and fix our orientation. Let's get down to the retrograde. And I'm gonna pull in the solar panels for now. Unfortunately, we can't pull in the antennas and satellite dish, but you know what? Whatever. That's fine. Not a big deal. They should be fine as long as we take this nice and easy. I'm actually gonna pull. Oh no, we've got altitude up here now. I forgot about this menu here that I've put together, the custom MechJeb window. Okay. So let's go ahead and once we actually drop our delta V, we're gonna kick off this tank and let it crash to the surface and just use our descent stage here, so that we should have a pretty clear path without this big thing below us, and we'll extend our legs and we'll be all good to go. So at T-minus 1 minute, and we're coming over the top here. So it looks like pretty much right over in this area, it seems. So why don't we get this burn going? It'll be a little early, but it'll give us an angle still on here. That's the big thing that I was kind of hoping for. Don't really want to focus on Ike. I want to focus on the forward op space, if you don't mind. Well, I guess you don't want me to focus on. There we go. Okay. That's better. So we're definitely coming in pretty close over this thing. It looks like this is mostly what it is. This area down here, this big crater. I don't see anything that stands out as that little knot on the top of the planet here from the map view, but that's probably, like I said, probably just an artifact of this thing. It looks like it's right on the cusp, actually. It looks like that little graphical glitch there. That looks like the North Pole. So why don't we aim for that? Okay. Coming in here. This might be a bit tricky because right at the North Pole is kind of where your nav ball goes nuts. That's pretty much what happens here. Nav ball goes a little crazy because it doesn't know which way it should be facing exactly, or which way the degrees should be. So it just goes a little crazy. And let's stop it right there. And kick off that stage. Rocket away just a hair. We'll put out our landing legs, and we'll face upwards and get ready to do this. So we can get rid of that node, I do believe, at this point, since that's pretty much not going to serve us at all. And why don't we just go ahead and fast forward a bit and get down to the surface. Whew, that was a little scary. I thought I was going a bit faster there. Okay, so we got about 115, and it is climbing. So if we turn on this, we got about 5 kilometers up where we are. And I'm actually going to burn right at the top of this node so that it maintains our trajectory while still lowering our speed. I think we're doing okay here. That is kind of odd, landing right at the top of the world. Oh, that's not us spinning, that's the camera spinning, thinking it's getting close to the top. I was like, why are we spinning? Oh, we're going past it. Okay, let's get that going. Let's push that right up to the top and head straight down. Hopefully this isn't too big of a ridge or anything. That would be just spectacular to land on a terrible little ridge. Nope, not that way. We want to kind of go this way. If we can help it, get a good little landing spot there. Turn on our landing lights. We're definitely dropping. We got about 30 delta V, dropping down to about 25. We still got about 500 meters to go. We are getting very close to the surface though. So why don't we go ahead and bring that trajectory marker, the retrograde, right back up to the top of the nav ball. .4 meters a second is where we're at right now, 9.5, so it is climbing. This is about as fast as we would possibly want to be landing. We're about 200 up, and getting in close. And before we hit the surface, we're going to kick in some extra throttle. Just there we go. About 30 meters up. Dropping that speed right down. In fact, we could probably... Whoa, that is a bit of a slant. That's alright. If we land soft enough, it shouldn't be much of an issue. There we go. So we are landed right at the North Pole. In fact, I'm actually going to take this opportunity to kind of reposition ourselves a little bit. I think I kind of want to go somewhere a little bit better. Maybe right over this way. So kick on those thrusters a bit. We're going to rotate so that I know which way we're facing. Okay. So let's go this way. And this should be a bit more level right over here, looks like. Shouldn't cause us too much of an issue in that department. We should keep this thing pretty level. For all of the delicate science experiments that, of course, these Kerbals will probably never do inside the spacecraft that it's designed for. They'll get soil samples. It'll be fine. So they'll just get soil samples. That's all they need. This really doesn't take much. I'm barely hitting the throttle, and it's able to sustain this pretty well. Crank that over just a bit. Are we? Oh, we are using that middle thruster there. I was like, are we actually even using that middle engine? Turns out we are. Yeah, this is much flatter. This will be perfect. In fact, ideally, if we really want a lot of sun, so that we can actually get these solar panels going, we should probably go to the top of that ridge, but that's whatever. Not necessary. Okay. A little bumpy landing there, but that should be good. So let's push back out the solar panels, and we'll call this good. We should actually be getting some light here too, I think. Yeah, this actually gets light. Barely, but it gets it. And I think one activates... Nothing? Oh, it disables all the engines. That's what it was. So let's turn on our science instruments. Get this thing all up and operational. Extend our ladders. We have ladders, man. Did I forget? Oh, there it is. I was like, did I seriously forget ladders? Okay, we're good. We got a ladder. And cool. So guys, that's our next base. We've got out here a field operations base Mark 1, I do believe, is what this is. Renamed. We'll mark that as a base. Field Ops Base Mark 1. We'll give it a name here soon enough. Something appropriate for the system here. But thanks for watching, guys. Come back at us next time. We'll be going out to probably somewhere new. Cheers.